Last week on the Poisonrana Patreon, we were joined by John Cena to talk all about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in a brand new episode of Reviews from the Six.
And this is when he discusses head cheese. Now, I've never been to Texas, but is this something that still goes on? Do the people eat head cheese? Having it described the way this guy describes it definitely does not make me want to eat meat. But and that's another thing this movie did is made a lot of vegetarian.
Is it like I can't say I'm actually really aware what head cheese is, but is it basically gelatin?
It's jellied meatloaf is basically what it is.
Okay, right. I mean, we've evolved that. I eat Haribo all the time. Like that's essentially the same idea, right? It's
had sugar and color in it.
So, Davey, you being the resident chef, would you be open to maybe making a nice dish of head cheese?
I wouldn't make it, but I'd try it, maybe.
Get this show plus NXT retro reviews, wrestling reviews, movie reviews, and so much more over at patreon.com/poisonrana, and it's only $5, so what are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
First time in a long time, but back like I never left. Taking these things as it comes, you know me, I don't read ahead. Watch me burn down everything, BBE on the TV set. When I'm in control on the road, you could never really know what's up next.
Hello. Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for Up Next. You found us at postwrestling.com, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever podcast app you're using right now. And of course,
we are live on youtube.com/postwrestling. Hello, YouTube room. How we doing?
Hello, everybody. It's Tuesday, October the 22nd. Good evening, everyone. It's spooky season. Hello, all the postmarks, all the poison pals, and more importantly, the NXT friends. And it's a big week for NXT friends because not only will you hear us here tonight live on the Post Wrestling feed, but you will hear us this Sunday evening as we will be doing a Halloween Havoc post show right here. So mark that in your calendars. If you're watching a lovely Sunday night PLE, the way God intended it to be.
Sunday at 7 p.m. How lovely is that? I mean, I imagine show will be finishing around, 9:30-ish, maybe?
Yeah.
So, yeah, hopefully sometime before 10, we'll be up, right after the show's finished to talk all about Halloween Havoc.
Yes, so join us. We'll go into some preview and predictions, I'm sure, here today. But yes, welcome to Up Next. If you're new to us, search Poisonrana in your podcast app or social media and give us a follow or subscribe because we do lots of other podcasts, including a show just this past Sunday where we were talking about some AEW, some Shelton Benjamin, some Roman Reigns, the Bloodline, and a whole lot more. So go give us a little follow because we usually go live on Sundays, but this upcoming Sunday, obviously, with the pay-per-view, we're just going to go live Sunday night. But you can check out all the other shows that we did because we love to talk about wrestling.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, anything of note we'll probably either save for Tuesday's show or talk about at the top of the review. But I imagine on Sunday, most people will want to hear about Halloween Havoc.
Absolutely. Are you in the Halloween spirit right now, Davey?
I am, yeah. I'm starting to have some things arrive for my costume. My beard is coming in very nicely. Yeah, I'm been seeing a few films, been doing the usual, rewatching some of the Treehouse of Horrors, getting the place at work all dressed up for Halloween. So yeah, I'm in a good spooky spirit. Although today was still summer. I was in the summer spirit today.
Yeah, summer season was really the spooky summer season. The last few days here, at least in Toronto, has just been like gorgeous out. Like I've mentioned, I've been dog sitting. Shout out York, Ontario is where I'm technically am, in the boonies, in the suburbs of Toronto here, just a little like west north. I don't know my geography there, but yeah, like I'm dog sitting, so I'm like, wow, I'm gonna go explore. There's like ravines and creeks and all sorts. The owner, like my girlfriend's family, who I'm kind of watching this dog, they warned me not to take the dog out around this area at night because of coyotes lately. And today I got my first experience of hearing, I didn't witness them, but hearing some sort of vicious coyote fight while I was trying to enjoy NXT. And I went outside to like get a visual of this, but I just heard like I just last night I watched the American Werewolf in London,
right?
Like that classic movie. I was showing my girlfriend that, and then today I'm like hearing howls and scraps and stuff. I'm like, oh, these werewolves are coming. Load up those silver bullets. But yeah, so I've been enjoying this like crazy warm weather. Like you could go swimming today. It was so beautiful.
Beautiful, so like nice.
T-shirt,
shorts and tees.
Yeah, it was just nuts. So pretty. I also wrangled a snake yesterday. The neighbor, who I do not know, is like, hey, excuse me. I was outside having a smoke. They're like, are you afraid of snakes? And then inside, I'm like, yeah, yeah, I am. But like, yeah, no, why? What's wrong? And they're like, look. And it was like the tiniest little garden snake, but she seemed very deathly terrified. So I picked this little guy up and gave him a little home across the street there. But it's just beautiful. It's so hot that like the birds that in Canada, the geese that usually go like down south, they don't know what to do because they're like, wait, is this summer again? So it doesn't feel like spooky season because everything's still green and nice.
Yeah,
and
it's
warm.
beautiful. So
like
nice.
I bought a pumpkin and this thing's like gonna go bad before Halloween because it's so hot out. So so that's what I've been doing the last few days.
Nice.
Also watched The Substance. Have you heard of this movie?
No.
Okay, Demi Moore in this crazy like career revitalization with this role. It's a horror movie all about like keeping beautiful and stuff like that. It's definitely freaky. Would make for a future wild review, but I kept hearing all about this, so I put that on, and oh man, it was fucked up.
Well, right before we started recording, I had a bit of a laughing fit. I'm gonna have to just DM you what I saw, but it's my favorite costume of the year so far.
Okay, and what is it?
It's these two little kids, and I told you probably on last week's show or the week before that I'd recently rewatched Silence of the Lambs.
Right.
Have you seen this thing I'm about to send you? Okay, I'm gonna forward to you on Instagram, but it's two kids, and one of them is clearly Hannibal Lecter, but when I realized who the other one was, I just couldn't stop laughing. All right, I'm sending it to you now. No.
The best one I've seen so far is, if anyone's seen Beetlejuice 2, who knows who Bob is or all the other Bobs? This dog who looked suspiciously a lot like Dogpool from the Deadpool Wolverine movie, dressed as this Bob character, but because of the way the Bob looks and how the dog looks,
isn't that with the tall neck and all that?
And like the head in the orange suit. Oh, like that one to me, that one definitely is the Halloween one. Oh, I'm seeing Clarice.
Look closer.
It's Buffalo Bob or whoever. The girl in the well.
It's the girl in the well. So having kids I put it in the chat right now. It's and I'll share it on my Twitter maybe. It's a little boy dressed as Hannibal Lecter, and he's on one of those like dolly cart things. So I assume his parents wheeling him around. He's in the straitjacket, like he's Hannibal Lecter. But there's a girl who's got a well built around her, and then on top of the well, there's a picture of Buffalo Bill looking down.
Ridiculous.
These kids haven't a clue what they're dressed up as. These are definitely the parents just having their kids their kicks. But I howled when I realized what the girl was. I think it's brilliant.
a few costumes. Like I'm definitely, I have a lot of we have a lot of parties this week, because not only do we have our Loomis night that we'll get to in a sec, of course, but like this weekend is a lot of parties. People are also going to party the next whole week with all the different nights. So there's lots and lots of times where I'm sure we'll see some popular costumes, because some came to mind that like I couldn't pull it off, but I wish I could have been the Australian breakdancer. I forget what was. Oh man,
something. Top Gun. No, what's her name?
See, I can't even remember.
It's something like that, right?
Yeah. Ray Gun.
Okay, I'm not insane.
I'm sure anyone who did Squid Games a few years ago can just reuse that jumper as Ray Gun. Something I wanted to do, but my girlfriend was completely opposed to, was being the Costco guys.
Okay.
But I need to get like eyelash extensions to be that dad, just because he's got really long ones. But or hit the gym maybe a little bit. But I see people dressing up as those things. You always see Jokers and Harley Quinns, and even though that movie seemed to be a bomb, I'm sure you'll still see a lot of people dressed up as this kind of iteration of them, at least like from this movie. But I love when people go out for the costumes and go all out with some creative things. Like the party I'm going to on Saturday has the winner for best costume gets $7,000. I'm like, that's a lot of money for like a costume. Like whenever we've gone and our friends have won and stuff, it's been like Leaf tickets or like $200 or your bill covered. But like damn.
Yeah, I've already sorted out 2 costumes for this year, and I guess I need to wear one for work on Saturday. So I'm gonna try and repurpose something. I think, have a look.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of nonsense here, so I'm sure I can make something work.
Yeah, we both have like costume closets of just like random shit from years of being whether it's superhero fans, comic book fans, wrestling fans, or just Halloween connoisseurs. But yeah, this is the most fun time when everyone's dressed up and having fun. So in the next few weeks, if you see good wrestling costumes, or yourself have a sweet costume, definitely send them in on the socials and stuff, because love to see it. And I know we have some costumes planned for next week that you might want to watch for as well. Specifically Davie, I know he's cooking something funny up, so looking forward to that as well. So as always, follow us on the socials, because we love this kind of stuff. You know what would be a good couples costume? Is it too late, Davie? We could be Undertaker and Donald Trump. That would be a real
and that American T-shirt guy, right?
Yeah.
We'll have a few cans of seltzers next to us. That's easy enough. Some Blue Chew. Some debt collectors or whatever it was they were advertising. Yeah. Did you get a chance to watch this?
I don't know. What? You're talking about Undertaker and Trump, right?
Yes.
Was Dead Man 6 feet under?
6 feet under.
Or as Trump referred to as the stupid show.
Yeah.
This I didn't do 60 minutes, but I'm doing your stupid show was the quote from Donald Trump. I mean, I did not like torture myself by listening to the whole thing, but I won't lie and say that I wasn't interested in listening to it. But thankfully, people on Twitter seem to chop up big chunks and clips and everything. So I did consume it. I
watched the whole thing last night.
Oh my God.
And it was tough. It was so many commercials, and like Trump aside, like we're not even getting to him yet, but just the Undertaker trying to sell me dick pills and seltzers. Like,
is your dick a dead man?
I don't believe that man drinks seltzers. Like, I've seen him shooting back the Jack Daniels with Austin on those podcasts. Like, but they're so long, these commercials, and it's just it's so weird seeing Undertaker in this way. Like, okay, whatever. Like, he kept kayfabe for so long, it's time to like pull back the curtain a bit. But just there's some things where I'm like, man, that's rough. And then I thought Trump was a great interviewer. He asked all the hard-hitting questions to Mark.
Yeah, it shows that like when or if, I guess I should say, Trump is not president, if that's the case, then like he's going to be bored. So he's going to have his own wrestling podcast, clearly. But like, look, Undertaker, it's weird because we've been fans of him for such a long time, and he has kept kayfabe. So I've actually really enjoyed some of the stuff he's done and the stories that he's finally letting loose in the last year or so. Like, and I don't blame fans for like, listening and supporting, because I think it's pretty cool. Obviously, I'm not on the the Trump train, but as a Canadian, we're just witnessing this. And I'm like, man, what did you expect? That Undertaker was not going to be a Trump supporter? Like most of your favorite wrestlers probably are, and probably thought it was even cooler that Undertaker did this. So I'm not going to just like cancel the guy completely because he supports Trump or anything, but I don't have to agree with his political views. But holy shit, this was hilarious. Like, do they not know that this is like, we're not laughing with you here. We're kind of laughing at you because Donald Trump is actually running for president, but yet instead of actually discussing things he's going to do, like, I don't know, gun control or health care or all the other things, instead he's asking Undertaker, like everyone else's uncle, hey, have you ever wrestled Haystacks Calhoun?
Yeah.
Hey, does it hurt when you take a body slam? Hey, did you ever? It's like, what the?
Have you ever just the bit that made me laugh is where he's going like, and there are times where like if someone hits you too hard, does it get you get into like an actual fight? And Undertaker's basically talking about receipts. You know, like if you clock someone, you might feel something come back and be like, oh, okay, maybe I did something there. Okay, and then he's like. And then when this happens, does the whole roster run to the ring to break it up? It's like, no, that's normally story. That's normally story stuff going on. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, Undertaker wasn't there to ask about policy, but it was a way to get, you know, young men, I'd say in particular, like fans of the Undertaker, to maybe humanize Trump a bit more and just. And that's his whole thing, is trying to feel like relatable to people. And it doesn't matter what this man's policies are or whatever. Like it's to get those people who might not be even intending to vote to go, oh yeah, he seemed cool hanging out with the dead man there. But the whole thing was just ridiculous. It was an hour long. I'd say a good 20 minutes was commercials, because we sat through this whole thing last night, and I was too like tired to like try and skip. And then a bunch of it was like Trump sort of just asking Undertaker a load of questions about wrestling, and then just saying about his WrestleMania, how it was the most successful of all time. They're like, there are a lot of things even on that. Like Mark wasn't gonna fact check him on things. He's like, yeah, I hosted 2 and 3 or 3 and 4. I'm like, no, you didn't. Like that wasn't Trump's Towers or whatever. But then right at the end, Undertaker's like, oh yeah, and just before you go, what are we going to do about men and women's sport? And you're like, oh, okay, you're opening that can of worms.
Yeah.
Like 60 seconds before the end of this thing, you're bringing your poor daughter out who doesn't have a fucking clue what's going on. And yeah, I just found it, like again, it's that. If that's the priority of your president, like fucking people transitioning in sports and stuff, like, come on.
It's such a weird hill for some people to definitely die on. And you see so many of these people, you know, defending this.
First day in office, he said. That's what he'll do.
Yeah.
That's
exactly what we need to fix.
That's the main issue right now.
Whether people agree with some of the things Trump says or some of the things that Undertaker is saying, that's aside. This guy's running for president, and you know he's doing all these podcasts. And you're right, doing this, talking about wrestling. What felt like Trump interviewing Undertaker about wrestling for most of the thing is just hilarious. Like, dude, you should have done 60 minutes because you should probably answer some questions that people actually have, but you're not going to change anyone's mind.
He can't, though.
He
can't answer those questions. He'd rather talk about Haystacks Calhoun.
It's just so funny. And maybe it's like a guilty pleasure, but like he is hilarious. Like that is the thing. That's the problem, because people think that and go, oh, we can't let this guy go because we got to watch him. And it's ridiculous. And the Undertaker, like, obviously you knew he was going to vote Trump. We've watched this guy for years, the American Badass, Kid Rock, all that. But the most shocking thing about the Undertaker having Trump on his show was Undertaker was wearing blue jeans. What the hell? Have I ever seen this man wear blue jeans?
Well, we've seen him in Godfather's pants before.
Yeah, even those were better than whatever he was wearing. But again, don't be shocked about the Undertaker having Trump affiliation now. It seems like they're best boys here. It seems like Undertaker's just a big old fanboying over Trump here for the most part. Just circle jerk, really, essentially, from these two. But let's not remember that just recently, Undertaker was on the Vince McMahon Netflix documentary. And if my brain serves me correctly, Undertaker was on that show talking about how chair shots are a lost art, and taking a chair shot to the head was like a badge of honor. Interesting. Anyways, that's
the one other thing that I kind of took away from it was when they're talking about the assassination attempt, and they're talking about the do you have paintings of that? They're almost like kind of laughing about the whole thing. And then when the co-host says about his he's got a t-shirt company or whatever, and they're very pro-American t-shirts that he's selling, and he goes, "Oh, and actually, President Trump, we managed to raise a lot of money for the family of Corey Comparator." And Trump's like, "Who? Oh, it's the one guy that got killed the day someone tried to assassinate you. It's that guy." And it's just not even knowing the name. Okay, might have been put on the spot or whatever, but it was just like you don't even know the name of the person that was killed. Wasn't like there were many of them. One person died. Well, two people died. The shooter and the firefighter. And it's like things like that where you go, you're so full of shit. But I know we're probably turning off quite a few people right now talking about this.
I definitely see that the there is a divided United States of America doesn't seem so united. No. And I don't think it's fair for people to like, oh, well, Undertaker was shit the whole time and he's canceled and this and that. Like, I'm not that kind of person. And I mean, a lot of people are like that, but it doesn't shock me that this was a thing. And in fact, it just made me laugh. Like, this made me laugh that it's idiocracy. It's this guy is using wrestling because he's in the Hall of Fame. So like he's using this as a platform. It's pretty smart because hopefully maybe on his sake that people watch this and go, well, it's the Undertaker. If a dead man can vote for this guy, then I'm going to be an American badass too and vote. So it's like, you can't, this is what it is, but it's the best reality show going is United States, watching this from up top here. But like, yeah, really ridiculous. And then you had Eminem tonight come out to endorse Obama and Harris and everything. Like, it's just all like, now it's like celebrities, this and that and whatever. But we'll see, because that Tuesday, what's going to happen? And what's going to happen after that Tuesday is maybe the more interesting.
We're going to go to Philly.
Yeah. We'll go to Philly the next day when they're still counting the votes, probably. Yeah. We'll find out who the president is during NXT on that Wednesday at the 23 Arena. And
maybe Just Incredible can come out to reveal to everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hopefully he wears the Man-O-War mask. But very interesting. And I hate to sound like I'm some millennial complaining. I don't want to say snowflake, but the clip I saw from Raw last night was pretty out there as well. You already know what I'm talking about.
We talking about Carlito?
Yeah, that's not cool. Carlito just being racist. I feel like he's made this exact joke on Raw or SmackDown like within the last year or so. But yeah, like wrestling and racism seems to just go hand in hand. But for the last little while, I feel like stuff like this hasn't been able to fly. And like what I'm seeing, I think it was Fightful kind of doing some digging, or at least reporting and saying that it was something that he just like said that got like crickets from the crowd, a weird reaction, and even stranger reaction from like people online being like, hey, what was the deal with that? And like, I think I don't want to say the right time and the right place for certain things like that, but something like that was just like completely left field and not needed, not funny, like completely just bad. And they should learn.
I mean, and that's why unfortunately, it's things like that why we get more into scripted product, right? Like and over the years, like people say, oh, scripting is killing wrestling and let wrestlers say whatever. But things like this happen. And maybe in defense of Carlito, he was, his character is an idiot, right? Like he's playing the stupid, dumb one. And maybe in his mind, he's not thinking of it as racist, but he's stupid and genuinely thinks they're Chinese or whatever, giving the benefit of the doubt. But it's just such a, like, we're reviewing Halloween Havoc 95. this week, and commentary has, you know, WCW 95, any Japanese wrestler who's out there or whatever. Like I watched earlier today a match with Sabu, and the original Sheik is out there, and Heenan's talking about going and getting a shish kebab and stuff like that. Like it's such a thing, and we've definitely moved past that. And I would hope that Carlito's like kicking himself and like didn't realize how it would come across and be like, what a fucking idiot I am. I mean, we've all seen the clip as well of, you know, someone yelling to Io, go back to China, and she goes, I'm Japanese, bitch. Like it's I'm hoping, you know, like the intention was innocent and it was just poor. It was a poor choice of words. It was WWE, obviously, we're not happy at all because you can't find that online from any of their stuff. Like they've cut that segment out, removed it very, very quickly from things. So just especially net, like we have moved on from that, and it was just did he just say that?
Yeah, it's like, it's not like even like him being like, oh, sayonara, or like, you know, attempting to say something in Japanese. He's literally being like, oh, I should learn Japanese because these two Japanese women just walked by. It's like, man, like just weird and baffling. And the fact that they did edit it out like proves that it's probably wasn't good.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like we go to a lot of shows. We're big wrestling nerds, and we go to like we've been to stadium shows, arena shows, and indie shows. And you know what? We're two white guys, but you know what? Something that I know makes both of us feel very uncomfortable is when you do hear racist things. You know what? You do hear dudes shout these things at people at events all the time at certain shows. We've been to shows in the States, in Canada, and you do hear these sometimes. And fans these days are more likely to now jump on those people and like, hey, you know, stop that. Whether it's homophobic, you know, sexist, racist things, there are still lots of that. And it's not cool, as the Carlito would say. But yeah, I hope he kind of learns from that.
I think as well, it's WWE have made quite an effort. Like, and I would say it's probably from Triple H, because we did see this start off in NXT with trying to, like, you know, overcome that language barrier with some of these talents. We saw it on NXT tonight. I thought it was a pretty cool package they had with Stephanie and Giulia, which was all subtitled between the two, and I thought it made them look awesome. And we've seen them do that a lot more, rather than, you know, back in the day with the flutes and the chimes and a stereotypical evil Japanese manager or whatever, and all the jokes from commentary and what is that, like ramen noodle moonsault and those kind of comments. Like, we have moved on, so it is a shame to see.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We see so much of that, and we've moved on. And it's like, I don't know, it just felt so. Again, they've edited it. Like, move on from it. Hopefully, we don't get more of that. Like, they should. I imagine, like, the thing with Triple H, the I don't see color, or we don't see color thing, and then this having happened. Like, I feel like he'd probably be like really upset that this has happened. So hopefully,
it'd be interesting to see if there's any repercussions or whatever. Like,
and like, look, I love my 05 WWE, and Carlito, he's got a mid-card 05ers, got a soft spot in my heart. But like, since he's had that big pop in Puerto Rico, he hasn't really done anything.
He's offered nothing really.
He hasn't done really that much.
He rarely wrestles. When he does, it's nothing exciting. He really isn't needed in this group. I don't think. Like, it feels like R-Truth light the whole time he's been in the Judgment Day. It hasn't been great. That being said, did you catch any other parts of Raw this week?
No, I didn't. I didn't check anything out. I just saw that clip of it. I don't know if I want to watch it.
Yeah, I really like the main event. Again, it's Jey Uso and Braun. It just seem to have this weird chemistry where it really works. Jey Uso dropping the title. It was kind of, as we talked about on Poison Rana this Sunday, it was Jacob Fatu costing him. But what I thought was notable was the reaction when Bron Breakker and Jacob Fatu stared off.
Yeah.
This crowd went nuts for that. And that's not necessarily a pairing that I've thought of, but just seeing that, I'm like, oh yes, that would be cool. And that is the future of this company, like these two guys. So I thought that was awesome. And honestly, I think when we went to that SummerSlam and we saw Jay versus Roman, I thought there's no way this guy will ever be near a world title. The reactions he's been getting lately, I don't think it's out of the question that he could hold at least Gunther's belt at some point. Like I know they just did the like European tour, and from listening to Grapple and like Maddie who went to the show and stuff, like Jay just seemed to be like the most over guy. The reactions he's getting from this crowd are just getting bigger and bigger. And I actually think that he's starting to click more as a singles wrestler. I did think it lacked when it came to the matches, because I did feel he felt like he was wrestling like a tag wrestler who didn't have his partner. But I've really enjoyed these couple of matches he had with Breaker, and I think he's really starting to actually break through as a singles star, and could totally see him as the champ at some point.
Yeah, he's totally like got something with the crowd, and the whole having a catchphrase and a marketable merchandise definitely works, and they do that right. So like it's a whole machine kind of behind him, and it's great. It's weird that like he dropped it so soon to Braun, but I think they gotta like fix what they've done with Braun. I haven't necessarily liked his run since being what I've seen on the main roster. I feel like all his big matches have just been okay, when I think he's eventually going to be capable of a whole lot more. But yeah, I did see the stare down between those two, and like I think that would be something we get to down the line, which would be pretty good.
I mean, I think this is a good way to, get Jey Uso on the team for the Survivor Series, right? And then, but I think whereas I think a while ago I thought, oh, you then just get the Usos back together and they have their tag run and whatever. I don't see that now. I think you have the Survivor Series match. He helps his brothers out and his family out, and then it's no, I've still got unfinished business in my singles career, but this time they give him the blessing. They're not costing him these matches and stuff. So I see that potentially being the way.
Yeah, Bloodline v. Bloodline with The Rock on one side, Sami Zayn on one side as well. I think that could be pretty good. We were also talking on Poisonrana last Sunday about Goldberg versus Gunther, and maybe Goldberg's recent WWE Survivor Series Canada streak will continue. It's just a one win.
True.
Let it go for a second time in Canada. But
Canada, WWE PLEs, I guess, because we saw him take out Dolph Ziggler multiple times, didn't we?
Right. Was that a real match? I forget. Or was that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
No, it was.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. It was like that Family Guy sketch. But yeah, I think they got a lot cooking, and people still seem to be involved in some of these storylines. I'm like hot and cold with it. I do think having The Rock being involved in anything just brings so much interest to it. So I obviously can see where they go with that. And the Cody Gunther stuff, the match should be really good. I think Gunther should go over, which then can eventually lead to a rematch down the line, I'm sure, from that and everything. And but they got what? Crown Jewel, and then they got the
I feel that's a big thing, like bringing it down at the moment. Like all the stories I'm enjoying are the stuff kind of setting up for post Crown Jewel. As much as I'm looking forward to seeing Gunther v Cody, like this whole and they've done as good a job as they can do in trying to make this Crown Jewel title mean something. We all see through it as well, right? So I'm looking forward to just getting into real like Survivor Series mode, and then we can focus on like Netflix, the Rumble, all of that stuff.
Another thing before NXT, you saw Samantha Irving.
Yeah,
she's leaving WWE.
She's left WWE.
She's gone.
Yeah. A bit of a shock. Just kind of came out of nowhere yesterday. We saw online that she's departing the company, and then Lillian Garcia stepped in last night, and there was just a brief like, wish her the best. She's left us. Thank you on Raw. Then there were reports like saying that she's let them know on the day she was quitting. She since quoted this and said, absolutely not. I let them know months ago. So yeah, a little odd. I mean, I think he's very talented, and has probably got an offer for something bigger and better, is what I'd imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I could be wrong, but is it Michael Buffer or Bruce Buffer have gone publicly about saying that like she's the best? I think someone sent the Cody clip from WrestleMania to them,
Right.
and they were like, "Oh my God, this woman is amazing." It sounds like, I mean, we talked about when Ricochet left WWE that it's like, hey, like, you know, you imagine maybe she would leave too, but it's like, well, she's doing so much great work right now. It's like, why would she? But from some reports, it looks like maybe it's like she wanted to go after other things, whether it's like a music career, because if I'm not mistaken, that's like Lillian Garcia was the same thing. She eventually like tried to do a lot more music and stuff, and then she came back.
I mean,
and
I
back
think
and forth and,
I think she was on. Didn't she audition for American Idol or something like that sometime?
Wow.
She's her background, I think, is in like theater and music and that kind of thing. So I don't see her like this isn't a wrestler leaving. This is one of the broadcasters, one of the announcers. Like, I don't see AEW being the right career move, to be honest. I think that I kind of get the feeling like if she's leaving WWE, that's her done with wrestling for now. But whether it's like sports announcing, boxing, or mixed martial arts, or if it's like acting, singing, like she's very talented. I mean, she has a presence about her as well. Like I throw the wrestling on at work, and people who don't watch wrestling are like, who is that? Like, don't normally say that about ring announcers, really. And so I imagine she's got like pretty good things lined up ahead of her if she's leaving a pretty good job in WWE.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, must have a few things in the works, and be great to see what she does. Because great voice. She definitely like got a lot of people's attention. So cool to see that. Sad to see, I guess. Because
it's just sad when it's so like there's part of me that just I want to say goodbye to my characters.
She's gonna get the call
one
though.
Last announcement. Yeah, I can see her doing something at some point with the company if it's on good terms,
Yeah, which it sounds like it is. So like when Chelsea has a big WrestleMania moment, she gives her a call, or Cody again, or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken. I think Edge, they eventually brought back Tony Chimmel.
That's
to do
right.
his thing. Like they do that kind of like, Fink and stuff like that. So, but she's already left a mark in the world of wrestling. So good for her. Yeah.
Did you catch Takeshita Josh Alexander?
Oh yeah, we briefly chatted on Sunday about Maple Leaf Wrestling returning from night one, but we were recording Sunday, so we hadn't seen night two. And I mean, night one, Takeshita Speedball is like, just what an incredible match. But the same could be said for night two with Takeshita versus Josh Alexander, which again, just in a phenomenal match. Takeshita. If I haven't made it clear, he's my boy. He's the guy. He's my favorite guy to watch. And like his matches are absolutely like killer. Can't miss. Like every time he wrestles, it's a slapper. It's so good. So he had 2 back-to-back nights wrestling, and I thought they were just awesome matches. Like two definite like match of the year qualifiers for sure. There wouldn't be angry if anyone chose those, because they were really, really good. I mentioned was it Speedball doing the crossfire or whatever? That leg drop thing was just bonkers. Everyone's been sharing that clip as well. But I love the presentation of the show. Hearing Mauro Ranallo call wrestling again was just beautiful. That man is so good at that. So it was really nice to hear him calling things and the hip hop references again and everything. So it seems like this wasn't just a one and done either. So I'm wondering what is the future with Maple Leaf, and Canada needed a promotion and Impact as much as you're doing great. TNA, you're doing great right now, and I'm proud of them, but we needed a Canadian homegrown promotion. And I think Scott D'Amore is sliding back in with
those. I mean, I don't think we necessarily need another TV show, but being like just a super, like I got the feeling like this could be like our hog,
Excuse me,
weird phrase to say, but like that kind of super indie, like people from lots of different promotions, big names with big matches, don't necessarily need weekly TV, but can throw on a show every month or every couple of months, and you have good presentation, good workers. Like that's kind of the vibe I got from this. It was like House of Glory meets Impact with the
AEW,
and
everything, right?
And like if Canada can have their own one, and I like that they were like boasting like the majority of the wrestlers there are Canadian and that kind of thing. I mean, Maple Leaf Gardens here would be a great
Academy. Yeah,
that's like that would be perfect.
I would imagine that's going to be announced for 2025. Like they're definitely going to be doing that in a few months. Maybe this like soon is something they got to be doing because like that's totally what they were showing clips of it. They had the Bret Hart narration. They had great production. They looks like they got some steam behind them. So like all the power to Scott D'Amore. And this was just a cool little like 2 days of wrestling with some good wrestlers on it. And if they can continue, like just do specials like this on Fight, Thriller. The world has changed, and companies like that and indie companies can stream now and everything. It's great time for a wrestling fan because you can just find wrestling in all sorts of different stuff. But if you haven't already, Takeshita versus Speedball, Takeshita Josh Alexander were pretty good. I know people were just also raving about Bully Ray versus Jinder Mahal. Which
I bet.
I think currently is the worst voted match of 2024, or at least it's up there. It's
I gotta watch it then. Are we gonna? I think it was last year where we were like, before we do the worst of best and worst, we have to watch EC3 versus Tyrus.
We did. We watched it,
and we did. We wanted to be fair. We didn't want to say it if it wasn't true. I guess I got to watch this whole show then.
Because it turned out to be true. Yeah. It was the worst match
it was terrible
that year. So maybe I did skip it this time around, but I would recommend some of the other stuff. So looking forward to that. Oh, Canada, go Canada for sure. But lots of wrestling because it never stops. There's wrestling on every day of the week. I'm going to be watching Dynamite tomorrow. I'm sure we'll maybe briefly talk about it on Sunday because yes, Halloween Havoc this Sunday, NXT, like I mentioned, will be live right after on the Post Wrestling feed, audio to be out just after that. But it's Halloween Havoc, and you all know that this is a classic WCW pay-per-view that has been brought back to life from the undead or the dead. And we thought it'd be fun to hit you with a review from the 6 podcast this week as Davie and we will be reviewing, as voted in the tadpole in our Facebook group, Halloween Havoc 1995. Now, other than the monster truck mayhem match, Davie, what the hell else is on this show, and why does it suck so bad?
Well, we've got Johnny B. Bad and DDP. We have Randy Savage against Brutus the Danhausen Beefcake, and we've got good old JL, everyone's favorite luchador, taking on Sabu.
Yeah, Halloween Havoc 1995. This is going to be a hoot, I'm sure. So we're recording this tomorrow. If you haven't gotten feedback in, get it in now from the Joe Louis Arena in Detroit, formerly known as the Joe Louis Arena. So that'll be out some point tomorrow or Thursday on the Patreon. But that's not all, because $5 gets you that show, gets you a whole month's access to shows like that, like our Blair Witch Project review from a few weeks ago, like our best match ever Motor City Machine Guns. We did the homework for you and compiled a playlist of great matches with links, and then we chatted all about them, rate, review, and all such about Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin. That was a lot of fun. If you haven't checked that out, you get that show. Plus, we just did Texas Chainsaw Massacre, a review from the 6 with John Cena Evil, and he's the horror movie buff. So we nerded out and chatted about a lot of blood and head cheese and on all sorts. But that's not all, because this month is so loaded that we have one more show for you, and we're doing it on Friday. Davie, what is this show?
We are going to be diving into the depths of hell, talking about best match ever, Abyss.
Yes. Oh, yeah. He's been cooking as a producer in WWE, the Hell in the Cell, lots of matches. So we thought, why not let people be familiar and give him his flowers and chat about the best of Abyss. I don't think any of his, what was his lawyer gimmick? Parks? Joseph Parks. I don't think any of those matches made the cut, sadly, unfortunately, but we'll definitely still be chatting a little bit about it. But yes, a great playlist of Abyss's best matches. And I was a big fan of this guy back in like, again, probably 05 is when I watched him. So best year of wrestling. So this is an underrated guy.
I've really not seen a great deal of Abyss. Pretty much the only things I've seen are from those like TNA pay-per-views we've reviewed on the Patreon. So I'm kind of looking forward to to looking at all this.
Well, Davey, I mean, we were roommates for many, many years.
I have seen that last right.
How many?
Yes.
I know. Oh yeah, last night. Okay, yeah. No, but how many times have I made you watch that Monsters Ball match?
It's always on the like Roku TNA channel. It's just always on.
Yeah. It really is. Every time.
And for some reason, the TV just defaults to the TNA channel. I don't know how. I don't know why. But it's always that match. What is it? It's Jeff Hardy. We're talking about it, aren't we? Yeah.
Sabu. Yeah, it's one of my favorite matches, dude. It's so fucking good. The rewatch value on Monsters Ball, Sabu, Rhino, Abyss, and Jeff Hardy. Oh, man. But yeah, we're going to chat about Abyss on the Patreon. So listen to all those shows. And for $5 a month, you get access to all those. All our other Halloween Havocs are on there. Lots of horror movie reviews, wrestling. It's only $5. So support your boys. Patreon.com/PoisonRana. And we supply you with hours, endless content and entertainment for whatever purpose you need it for. But yes, check us out on our Patreon. And while we're at it, chop-tees.com/PoisonRana. Shout out to anyone who's bought any of our merch. Please send in photos when you do. And shout out, I think it was Brian in the Poisonrana chat earlier today, a listener, Brian, who said that he just purchased the athletic varsity jacket, the Poisonrana on the back, looking fresh. Brian's going to rock that Froggy style all winter long. Very excited. Thank you, Brian. Definitely send in the photos when you get that jacket. I know ours is on the way, Davey.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to rock them to full gear. We're going to be in full gear, looking fresh. But a little teaser, an announcement of an announcement. Sunday on our Halloween Havoc show, we will be launching a new merch line.
Ooh.
Oh, boy. And trust me.
Very excited.
It's a screamer for sure. This one is definitely going to be a buy now. So tune in on Sunday as well to see some fancy new swag that we got going here at upNXT and Poisonrana. But we can't do it without all you people. So thank you so much for listening and all the support and whatnot. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, shall we talk a little bit about WWE's developmental system right now?
Yeah, I don't know. I have anything else to do, so let's do it. Let's talk about NXT from Tuesday, October 22nd. We see Stephanie Vaquer and Giulia showing up and Fatal Influence showing up for their main event tag team match here tonight at the Performance Center. Trick Willie also showing up, of course, not wearing a shirt, but he said he was in Philly recently and it was too cold, so he actually had to wear a shirt. And you know why he was in Philly? Probably doing some promo because a big announcement. We did chat about it on Sunday on Poisonrana, but NXT is not going live during election night, but instead they're doing a rare Wednesday night, and they're going to be doing it extreme style in Philly at the 2300 Arena, which just seems awesome. And we were kind of fantasy booking like Javon Evans, RVD kind of just needs to happen. It looks like Sandman and Brooks Jensen were going on at it on Twitter. So maybe we get, I don't know, Sandman, Raven, something involved there.
FBI and the family.
Beautiful. Chef's kiss for sure. Yeah, there's a few things that you could do that could be really fun. But I think this is a great idea. Like, we were just at this arena WrestleMania weekend, and like, it's perfect for that, I think.
Yeah, great. Would love them to run more venues like this. I thought the commercial for it was really cool, you know, showing all the old like ECW highlights. And I quite like the logo, like the NXT 2300. I thought looked pretty nice. But whether we kind of discussed on Sunday's show, if how extreme they're going to get, I don't know, because I got a feeling from one of the promos tonight that we might be pushing things a little bit more in NXT now.
Yeah, it's possible. Like, again, I would try to do one like throwback match. Again, RVD would kind of be the perfect like match, but there are a few other people. You just have them in the mix, whether they're wrestling or backstage promos or like, you know, segments and whatnot. But I think just doing a show there is pretty cool. And like we've talked about, doing shows in like GCW, doing the Hammerstein again, and like AEW needs to look at things like that. I mean, they've done a show on a boat, which was pretty cool, but like doing stuff like this is something that makes wrestling cool and makes it, you know, you might not have thousands and thousands of people in this arena. It's a small arena. It's probably like 1,000 people, but it's cool. And the environment will be cool. The crowd will be rowdy. And hopefully it's, you know, a perfect storm of bringing back like almost like a one night stand, but with the newer generation of, WWE's next future talent and stuff. So I think this is a great idea, and hopefully we get some cameos from some people. But FBI and the family, Raven, I don't know if he'd show up, but Sandman for sure, drinking some beer with Brooks Jensen. I don't know. I guess that's not allowed because he was the alcoholic gimmick there. But maybe he doesn't want to drink the beer, and that's what gets him to fight him. But yeah, let us know. Dream matches or moments, crossover events that could. I want Kimona to show up, but I don't think that's going to happen either. But yeah, but that was pretty cool. That's some great news for NXT, and we'll definitely be going live after that. Right? It's a Wednesday night, but
I think we'll be around.
Excellent. Excellent. But let's kick off things here. NXT, October 22nd. And today is a good day because the NXT return of the Sky Pirates is today. Io Sky and Kairi Sane. And if you've been listening to us for a while, you might know that these two are our favorites, our spirit animals in the world of NXT, as Davie really loves Kairi Sane and I really love Io Sky. So the Sky Pirates have a special place in our hearts here, but they're here on NXT. Damage Control is what they're called, obviously not the Sky Pirates, but that's who they are to us. And they're taking on Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson, the Metaphor, the Meta 2. And we get Io in there with Lash, and she's doing some really fast, crazy stuff like countering the drop downs, the flips, and landing on her feet. But when Lash is in, like, she looks huge compared to Io and Kairi here. And she's doing like the tree choke lift on Kairi and then kind of hits it into a slam. It looked like there may have been some sort of wardrobe malfunction because the screen went black and then she was like fixing her top. I was like, oh, what happened there? Is my screen? What was going on with my screen for a second? And I kind of maybe put two and two together. There's a break, but when we come back, Io is back in control with Jackson and hits a double stomp. And then Kairi's in with her spear and then a back fist. But Lash comes back with a huge boot to Kairi's face. And then she lifts both of them and catches both of them and is what's that rope move we really don't like? Yeah,
I guess it's the double dribble or whatever.
Right. Okay. She somehow Io gets out of that, hits the shote, and then the moonsault. I think Io slipped here because Kairi accidentally bumped the rope. At least that's what Vic covered it with. That stopped Io from. She slips off the ropes, but somehow lands into a somersault. So the veteran instinct there kind of made it work as she hits Lash with the shote and then the moonsault. But then this is when Piper Niven attacks, and in his Chelsea Green is there as well. And it's a complete beatdown. The match is thrown out as Niven and Chelsea beat both teams up. There's a crossbody, a splash, and then a Vader bomb as well from Niven. And then Chelsea and Niven stand tall. And love the Clueless inspired outfit from Chelsea here. But yeah, a match that just kind of was thrown out.
Yeah, fun to see Io and Kairi back in NXT. Good reaction for them. I think Lash Legend in particular has come a long, long way because she took a long time, I think, to start getting it in ring. And I think she looks really impressive. She carries this tag team. I feel most matches I'm never really aware of Jakara in the ring. I just see her on the outside with a lollipop, it feels like. But I think Lash has improved so much, and her feats of strength. She had a match, was it on SmackDown last week, where she slammed Piper, which is always impressive. We saw her slam Otis, last year. And I like what they're doing with the women's tag division now, actually having it as a 3-branded thing. I do see this kind of being like a soft call up for Metaphor here, but I thought they looked good, and I'm not even overly mad about the finish because I think it is important to get, if you are going to move them up, try and get them featured more. And I think this just means you're going to get another match on the main roster as well, and hopefully start getting them over more on the main roster. But yeah, I didn't mind this.
Yeah, like you got good stuff from the Sky Pirates, especially. Like Lash definitely has improved so much. I kind of still feel the same way from Jakara. Like she still isn't necessarily like the highlights of the stuff that she's been in, but it hasn't been anything necessarily bad or anything. But I love seeing Io and Kairi down here. I'm always still like nervous when I see Kairi wrestle because I'm like, man, like with all her injuries and everything, it's like when people like
something has been off, hasn't it, since she's come back from Japan? Like she just doesn't seem like she used to be. and I do get that more. I don't
Yeah.
feel as like I feel so comfortable watching Io in there, but Kairi does still feel a little off to me.
Io, like again, she's still good, but Io, man, like just so good, like running again, even slipping up and still managing to save everything and everything. But like she's had a great run this year as well, like having that WrestleMania match, one of the best women's matches of the year, if that. But yeah, like Lash and Jakara, they've kind of lost a few times, and they're trying to soft launch them onto the main roster. I think it could work, but do you bring Noam back and Oro up with them eventually? Possibly something.
It's they even seem to have like loosely dropped the metaphor name. Like they still call them it every now and then, but I'm pretty sure on Raw and SmackDown they've just been identified as Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson.
Right.
I don't know what Noam's kind of status is yet, and I know I think there's maybe a bit more juice with Oro in a singles run in NXT since he's been kind of breaking out a little bit.
Yeah, that is true and fair. We go to earlier today. We see the merch truck outside the Performance Center, and Hank and Tank are there. They're riling up the fans. They got horns blowing, and they got like a speaker thing. When they introduce Cole Custer.
Cold custard, yes.
Out comes this guy. Love this guy. Fuck yeah. Quick, babe. Cole Custer's on. Yeah, I don't know who this guy is, but bless him. He comes in, he pulls up, they got a spot for him in his car. He says, "Oh, sorry, it's not as nice as my car that I'll be driving this week." And I think it's an NXT car, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
The champs on it. And he parks his car here, but OTM show up and they're like, "Hey, this is our spot." And they're like, "No, it's not." And they said, "Yeah, well, this is our show. And what are you doing here?" So this sets up a match later tonight between OTM and Hank and Tank. And then Cole Custer, who seems like he's never been on camera before in his entire life, has to act like, "Hey, I'll be there too." And so they say that he'll be ringside and in the corner of Hank and Tank.
Yeah, I was stoked. I was so excited to see this.
Oh, fucking ready. Oh my God. I can't.
Everyone's favorite NASCAR racer, right?
Is he your favorite? Who do you like more than him?
Oh, come on. Who could be better than Cole Custer? Come on.
Bob Holly, Sparky Plug.
Oh, okay. Was he NASCAR? He was.
Look at that mullet. He was definitely NASCAR, wasn't he? Or at least pretending to be NASCAR, right? Come on. That's a real NASCAR hero. Bring him into, talking about the ECW arena. Let's get a real ECW legend, Bob Holly. Let's book him on a show. The kids need to know. The kids need to know.
I'm still hoping, that Royal Rumble, Hardcore Holly and Steve Blackman. Come on, make it happen.
Yeah. They're not
Stop
Head Cheese,
petitioning
right?
now.
Head Cheese is someone else. Head Cheese is
Al
Blackman.
Snow and Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That's the Head Cheese I do like, yes. So we kind of blend from the OTM segment from earlier, and out comes Jaida Parker as she's got a match next. But when we go to break, we come back and we see Brynlee Reese, Karmen, Petrovic, and Sol Ruca kind of working out in the gym. And they're talking about Ashanti, the Adonis, and his rose. When Ashanti shows up, speak of the devil, and he goes, "Oh, I know we shared a look last week, and it looks to me like we was feeling each other." And Karmen says, "Well, you actually cost me a match, so I thought I'd return the favor." And Ashanti says, what is it? Adonisly? Adonisly, I assumed that maybe we could get together. And she says, "Well, you know what happens when you assume, right?" And she says that she's got to get ready for her match later tonight. So, yeah, what's going on with this bizarre love triangle? If it is a triangle with these two. We get another commercial for the 2300.
Sorry, no, there was more there because Sol Ruca and Brynlee Reese are there, and they're questioning if there's something between the two of them because it was very flirtatious, and they're kind of going, "Look, you dropped the ball and you lost the match and all that," and she says, "Look, you don't know what I want." So she was getting a bit fed up with Sol and Brynlee poking into her private life right there, and she does seem interested, it seems, by Ashanti.
So yeah, this whole storyline is she's swooned. Like it seems like she's the one interested in him, and now it's like this weird, like when you're a kid and they like people pick on you, but it's like because they like you, or is it something like that? A little bit of tough love. I'm not sure. Playing hard to get. That's what it is. We'll go with that. We go to our next match. Jaida Parker taking on Tatum Paxley. Paxley early on here does this roll around and kind of makes Jaida dizzy, and it makes herself dizzy as well. Hits a shoulder tackle into the corner, and then Jaida comes back though and puts her in the corner, and then drops the teardrop ass attack in the corner, and then an inverted suplex for a 2 count. This is where we see Lola Vice watching the screen backstage angrily. Paxley, though, comes back with a series of forearms and an enzigiri for a 2 count. And then there's like a lucha-esque face buster, but Tatum should be careful. I believe Lash Legend uses this as a finisher. Is it the buzzer beater? No, the lash out. I forget now, but it doesn't finish the move here. But Jaida kind of hits the hypnotic and then runs the ropes and hits it again. And Tatum definitely sells it like it's the biggest attack in wrestling. As we are not big fans of this running hip attack finisher, but Tatum sold it like she got clothesline from hell here, flipping basically upside down as Jaida wins the match. But just after the match, Lola tries to come out and they're kind of separated. When the refs and security are all separated, not looking, Wendy attacks Paxley and puts her in a giant case, like the road cases that they use, and then wheels her out.
So Wendy's kidnapped Tatum Paxley and gonna take her to Impact? I don't know.
Oh, please, God, no, don't do that to her. No, Wendy's was on Impact. Tatum was there as well, right?
Oh, Tatum's, they've both been there quite a bit. I thought this was all right. I actually think it's a shame, like this character with Tatum isn't quite clicking. I don't think anything's like particularly clicked, like the Diamond Mine stuff way back when, and this character, because I think in ring she's got a lot better, and I don't mind her wrestling at all. It's a shame. And actually in this match when she was wrestling, there wasn't really anything spooky about her, but then right at the end you're reminded when Wendy comes out. So I think she's still looking for something to click, but in ring I think she's pretty good. And I think Jaida is improving in ring. I thought she hit some nice looking things like that inverted suplex looked pretty good. The end was a little messy, at least they had the idea to go back to it because they knew that first hypnotic didn't look good. Not that it ever looks particularly good, but they knew they missed the first one, and to decide to go for it again, I thought was the right idea. But not bad, but I can't say I'm overly connected with either character at the moment.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like Paxley, she's got the wrestling down, it seems, but it's kind of what is the character? Are you just a spooky girl? Is kind of basic and trying to make it her own still? Not quite sure. Jaida definitely like has improved and keeps improving that. I could see her like potentially something there for her. Like, she had that big opportunity with Roxanne, and I think she did shine. So I do see her breaking through possibly within the next year or so, whether she gets moved up or something, but it wasn't the highlight. I guess it was cool seeing Wendy Chu kidnap someone, but we haven't had a kidnap.
Not really, no.
When was the last time we had a kidnap? We had Braun's dad?
Tony D'Angelo would have.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. It feels like it feels like this is a normal thing. Really, is kidnapping.
Yeah, I was at first. I was wondering if it was a casket. I'm like, oh, is that the way we're going? Are we going to a casket match between these two? But no, she's just gonna take her somewhere, and I imagine maybe kind of. Could you maybe see a bit of a trio with Rosemary and the three of these, where they, they now poison Tatum to join them.
Why not?
Sure.
Yeah. Like at this point, like why not? Who cares? Kind of thing. You're right. If they put like a sticker on it that had like the anthem owl or something, like signifies, because what DX did the Spirit Squad and they put ship back to OVW or something like that. Like gimmick change. Let's go. This is the reset, Wendy. Sorry, Tatum. But yeah, we go backstage and we see Lexis King, and he approaches No Quarter Catch crew, Charlie and the whole crew here. And Lexis is like, man, I still don't get it. Why don't people trust me? Everyone seems to still not like me. And he goes, but you and me, Charlie, we're kind of alike. two technical wrestling prowesses. And Charlie kind of gives him a look like, I don't know about that. And then Lexus goes, two guys with fantastic facial hair. And then he's like, yes, I do agree on that. And then he goes, people respect you. Your father respects you. And I need some respect. And I would love to face you for that cup. So Charlie kind of agrees, but they say that he's got to get a corner man. At least they're going back to the rules, back to the basics of this. You do need a corner man. So Lexus says, I'll try to find one. So the match is official for next week, but Lexus does need to find someone to be in his corner, which might be a hard time considering he's kind of been a prick on this show. But I guess he could get his barber in it because that guy's always in his corner, it seems, every week. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, we do have I'll leave my thoughts till the Ava section maybe, but I do think, last week had a pretty good match with Oro Mensah. I'm at least somewhat interested in this character, where it's going. Is it sincere? Is he going to just turn back to the douchebag he was before? I'd say it's the last couple of weeks have made me more interested in Alexis King than I was before, where he was at one point a turn off the TV kind of character for me. And
at least it's interesting. Yeah,
it is. I am interested where it's going, and I think it's doing better than it was for me.
Do you see him winning the cup?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
To win the cup, he should just cheat again.
He could just cheat to win it and be right back to himself, couldn't he?
Right. Yeah. He's someone who needs to wrestle at the 2300 arena for sure.
Yeah,
right?
True.
That would be a good spot for him on that show. We go at the end of this kind of segment. We saw Wendy Chu walking by with this case with Paxley presumed to be in it. But we go to Axiom and Frazier backstage chatting with Javon Evans and Cedric Alexander. Sweet death row jacket that Javon is rocking here. And Frazier just starts to cut down Javon and basically saying like, tough loss here and there. Don't worry about it. You'll get him again next time. And just kind of like talking down to him, like big broing him a little bit. And then Cedric and everyone's kind of Axiom either is like, yo, like, what are you doing? He's like, well, he's young. And I'm just talking to him and teaching him the things, I got told at his age and kind of goes off. And this pisses off Javon. So he kind of steps up to him and Javon ends up slapping Frazier here, which then gets a big kind of pull apart. And Javon walks off like, he made me mad. And this is when Wesley, lurking in the back, kind of laughs and says like, you didn't win last night, but I can't believe you slapped him. You're letting people get under your skin. And then this also gets under Javon Evans' skin, which sets up a tag match for something, but didn't necessarily set up, I think, the singles match between these two that I think we thought it was going to go to at least. But we'll still get this match, but I'm not sure if it's going to be on Sunday. But it seems to have set up a few different things here with Frazier.
No, well, we've got the tag match next week.
Yeah, we have the tag match, but I mean, Halloween Havoc is Sunday.
So you mean the Wesley Javon match? Yeah. I think we could do that maybe further down the line. You could always have Wes cost Javon the tag match next week, and it could be set up for maybe Deadline's PLE or that ECW show, maybe.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Wes versus, I mean, it wouldn't be RVD, but that's okay. But Wes versus Javon Evans. Yeah. Like that's a big, making Extreme Rules. That could be all right.
I quite like this segment though. I thought, I actually thought Nathan Fraser took a step forward on this week's show, being more heelish, less just his like stupid, cocky, I said the wrong thing, I put my foot in my mouth, and a bit nastier this week. Like he was trying to be like the friendly bigger brother, but was being very condescending. And
he's a little broing.
Yeah, and I thought the segment later, I thought he came across quite nasty this week, and Javon bringing a bit of a fire from him out of it, I thought really worked.
Javon, like we've talked broken record about his in-ring skill, is just that boy's bouncy, but I've been loving his character on this show. It's been really like a breath of fresh air for NXT. He's become one of their breakout stars and like makes this show good. And I really like this, and I'm excited for that match as well. As someone in the chat, Job Nobley says that maybe this streak of Fraxium breaking up tag teams happens yet again. We'll see. Is A-Town Down Under still a team? Right now
I think so for now, yeah.
We'll see. We get a video package for Giulia and Stephanie Vaquer. We see Vaquer, there's subtitles, but her speaking and saying that she wants to, make her name proud, being one of the biggest stars from South America, and she wants to do her thing and take over North America and the world and make it big in the WWE, and NXT is the place to do that. And then it cuts to Giulia, who is saying that she knows that she wanted to be here, and now she knows exactly how NXT is with Cora Jade and Roxanne and everything that happened. And then it kind of cuts to both of them saying that they're here for the same thing. And we have the same idea. And, some way or somehow one of us will get there first, and it kind of refers to when they both picked up the women's championship. So they're both ready for this tag match. But I thought this was pretty cool, kind of giving a little story to both of them. And then when it cuts, they're both sitting next to each other.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty effective segment because we've heard a lot, they say, oh, in Mexico, in Japan. But I think showing here, them talking about it, showing about their careers outside, Stephanie showing off all the different championships she's won in like CMLL and New Japan Strong and that kind of thing. Showing like photo of them when they faced each other. I think there was a great line from Giulia here where she's like saying, she's the only one that hits as hard as me, and we both have the same goal. And then showing them become friends after their match. And it made it be like, okay, they haven't just thrown these two together because they're both the new talents coming in. It's showing, no, there is a legit friendship between these two that predates NXT. And it's showing how legitimate they are and why they've been bigged up and why they're being seen as these huge stars coming into the company.
Yeah, and I mean, this also kind of breadcrumbs to, I can't wait to see when they face each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
When we get this match, because that sounds pretty awesome. So yeah, this is good. Like, I know we're just getting a tag match, but I think they'll go out of their way to make this match hopefully stand out like a whole lot.
Yeah, they said it's the third women's tag match to ever be on a Halloween Havoc, I believe.
Nice. Are we? We're talking about all the WCW.
All the Halloween Havocs.
Yeah, for sure. Just bring back that pumpkin, possibly, if we can.
I mean, it's in the logo this year.
Exactly.
And we are in an arena, so hopefully.
Yeah, and Johnny's scared of wheels, and they brought back the wheels, so maybe he won't come and puncture the new pumpkin. But
true.
We go backstage, and we see the family check on Rizzo, who has seemingly been attacked here. We got referees and Tony's yelling, we need medical, as they're all checking on Rizzo, and she's like holding her arm. She's like, yeah, I don't know what happened. Someone hit me. Someone attacked me. So they're a little worried here because Luca Crusifino is facing Femi next. So Tony says, I'll stay with Rizzo, and Stax, you go out with Luca. So that's exactly what happens to set up our next match here. Luca Crusifino taking on Femi. And Booker letting us know what he thinks about Oba. No bread, no water, just meat. I mean, Luca's no small spring chicken. He's no small guy, right? He's kind of big too. So this is a bit of a meat match, if you will. There's a shoulder breaker from Oba early on here. But Luca comes back with his jumping knee attack and then starts to like chop and slap the chest of Oba and then hits a code breaker, which I think Vic refers to as the law breaker.
Love that. Yeah. He's also going, he's not in the law office right now.
They were really pushing this law office.
Which I thought they'd kind of drop this. Like we
really
know,
did too, yeah.
We know he's his like lawyer or consigliere or whatever. But yeah, we kind of got away from him. When he used to wrestle in the kind of bow tie and stuff, didn't he?
Yeah. Or like
I was just a little. The Lawbreaker's a cool name for the code breaker, but other than that, let's move on from the law stuff.
The Lawbreaker, but he's not a lawbreaker because he's a lawyer. So it'd be like the verdict, the guilty, the charge. I don't know. The charge is dropped, and it's like a drop or something. I don't know. There's a few things you could do, but we've got other lawyers in wrestling, right? Like we've had many come before him, but it's. Currently, there's not that many going on. Like Mark Sterling, remember? Like, I know you don't watch WoW, but we got one on there as well. Like, I like lawyers are fun people to hate on in wrestling. But here he's a good babyface because he was really trying to get Oba here. He was hitting him with some chops and stuff. He was really trying to bring it to this big man, but eventually he gets hit with that toss and then the pop-up power bomb. And man, the Oba bomb, I guess you could call this, because no one does the pop-up power bomb like this freak.
Oh, it looks so good.
This monster here.
It's like a last ride. Like,
but
he drops to his knees as well, but a pop-up last ride. I think they called it the fall from grace, I heard today.
I mean, it's so high up there, right? Like, yeah, it makes sense. So he pins him just like that. And then Stax comes in the ring to check on Luca. And then he sends Stax out of the ring. And then he attacks Luca even more. And then he beats up Stax as well. He's beating up both these guys. And he sets up a table when Tony D'Angelo runs out for the save. But then Oba beats up him too. And then he goes in this toolbox. I'm not sure if he got that from CM Punk or Drew McIntyre. And he grabs zip ties. And then almost a Kevin Owens Roman Reigns moment here. Almost. It was just a few 2 seconds shy of what's going on, where it just kept cutting back to these guys trying to sell the attack while they're like looking like, hey, what the fuck's going on? Finally, Oba gets the zip tie on Tony to tie him to the ring. And then Tony is forced to watch his consigliere and his right-hand man here, the underboss, get destroyed by Oba as he then puts Stax through the table right in front of him. And then he pulls out a ladder, sets it up between the ring and the commentary desk, and then power bombs Luca Crusifino right through the ladder as Tony is forced to watch in agony, in a great segment to set up for their tables, ladders, and scares match next week. But wow, that ladder just shattered. Whatever they did to it, like, that thing was destroyed. He went right through it. It was great.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so I guess it's 1-on-1. The family are all taken out for this match, but I guess we'll do predictions at the end. But yeah, good segment. It's just fun watching Oba. I always think right back to that first vignette where he was like throwing a fridge across a field, and I think he's really capitalized on that, because the destruction he does in these matches, I can't wait. As I said, Raw has kind of built up that meat division pretty well. I really enjoyed the Bronson Reed, Braun Strowman stuff, and I think once this guy's in there just launching other people around, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, like, this guy gets better and better, and he's got the look, the aura, the moves. He's got kind of everything going. So I'm looking forward to this match. They had a really good match. What was it, a week or so ago, or a few weeks ago? Mm-hmm. So this one could up the ante, and having the tables and the ladder spots here makes me see, like, we're gonna get the spine buster from Tony through a table for sure. But we're seeing what else. I wonder also, is this a classic? Like, how is Oba gonna climb this ladder? But anyways.
Yeah, we've seen, as I said last week, we've seen different types of TLC matches, haven't we? We've seen some which are still pinfall, some that are grab the ladder. We'll see.
Yeah,
we've seen Big Show climb ladders though. This guy,
but he had a big ladder though.
Yeah, well, he'll need a big ladder.
Yeah. We get another vignette, a commercial here for Delta, as all this scary music is playing. We see a wall with Halloween Havoc, and then we see a new name. Mm-hmm. Zarya. I guess that's what they're going with. Not Maria. Zarya. That's what they're calling.
Not Maria? Why was she Maria?
Zarya. I don't know. Just Zarya.
Zarya. Yeah, kind of interesting seeing that we've had other people come in with their names pre-WWE, but I guess Giulia and Stephanie are a little bit more of a big deal than Delta, but yeah, Zarya. Some people might have completely missed her on this show. Who knows?
Did you not see at the end with her?
Saw half of it, yeah.
And then what? Did it cut off?
Yeah.
Oh wow, it's like really like Halloween Havoc, where they're just cutting things off at the end. But we go to a video for Chase University. We see Andre Chase sitting alone in the classroom. He's talking to the camera as a video package plays. He says, "Chase U is the place to make anyone better, stronger, smarter. But that wasn't you, Ridge. You came back to NXT for redemption, and we gave you a home. But then you turned your back on us. You attacked us. You did all these bad things, and there's no saving you because everyone was right about you, Ridge." And then Andre gets fired up that I'm going to get my revenge on you, and it's going to be in an ambulance match. That's right. This Sunday, Ridge Holland versus Andre Chase in an ambulance match at Halloween Havoc.
I feel we called this last week, didn't we? I'm pretty sure we said ambulance match last week. Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense because I think you'll just have an absolute beatdown from Ridge, and eventually you have
Duke,
all of Chase U, Duke, Riley, Thea, help Andre close that door to that ambulance and drive him to the nearest medical facility.
I still just want a school bus. It could have been a school bus match. How about he's got an ambulance and he's about to win and he goes, no, hold on. And then he backs up. Yeah, I just want
drives him into a school bus. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I this kind of makes sense for the feud. I think it's ambulance match is not my favorite, but if you can do some silly shit with it. Job Nobly is still saying, don't trust Thea. Is Thea going to cost Andre Chase's ambulance match? I think Chase has to win. I think the university has to unite.
In a perfect world, Chase U win and Ridge is gone from their problems, but Thea does remind Ridge of his daughter. So he's
remind me of my daughter.
I don't know. I am a little nervous. We're back to Chase U lore being the most important thing on a show.
Always.
What the hell is going to happen with Chase U? And yeah, I'm a little nervous. I'm going to be on the edge of my seat for this one. We're going to go to the next segment where Ethan Page comes out, and so does Trick Williams, as we're getting a face-to-face promo battle for their match this Sunday in the Devil's Playground match. Now, I have a little gripe with this before we get into the promo. I feel like if Oba Femi and Tony D'Angelo had the Devil's Playground match and these two had the ladder match, I think that would have made more sense. Did they accidentally spin the wrong wheel? Because if you have these two fighting for the world title, we've already seen them wrestle a few times in the multi-man and the singles. Having the ladder match kind of stipulation changes it. And that's usually what you do to get like the undisputed definitive champion. But Oba Femi and Tony D made it personal, but theirs is not the Devil's Playground. So it's like kind of like, oh, what if it was the other way? Because they're very similar. It's just the other.
Well, I mean, you're talking about if you could fix it. And Braden, this is a wheel. This is a wheel of chance. And you just got to take whatever match it lands on.
I guess so. I just wish it was the coal miner's glove. But Ethan Page, Trick Williams promo battle here. And Trick says that after the stuff you've pulled last week hitting me, I should have came out here and dropped your ass like on mixtape. And he calls him scared. And he calls Ethan Page not all ego, but you're all desperate. And Ethan Page says, yeah, Trick, well, you may know me as a wrestler, but I'm also a father, a husband, and I've been in this game for 17 years plus. I've gone through everything to get here. I never had a performance center. I never had staff on site to do anything I've asked for, to pamper and cater to me, which I think confused the crowd because a few people were like, yeah, well, wait, no, we hate you. Wait, no, never mind. Wait, but we kind of, it got weird because the crowd did not know how to react to this. He says that like, you're just like the silver spoon. You're like a golden child. You've been picked to be this. And Trick says, yeah, I have all these things, but don't hate me because I'm blessed. Again, a heel would say that also. But Ethan says, yeah, Trick, well, let me ask you, do you bleed? Okay, he didn't ask it like that, but he says, have you ever bled, Trick? Have you ever been hit with a weapon so hard that you tasted your own blood, that sweat, that copper? And Trick says, well, I know you have, Ethan, and I'm glad that you're used to it because I'm going to do it to you again this Sunday, and I'm going to beat your ass and keep my title. Ethan says, yeah, well, it's anything goes. And you see, it's the Devil's Playground, meaning it's the Devil's rules, my rules. And Trick says, yeah, well, you never pin me. And Ethan Page says, don't worry, this weekend, this Sunday, I will. And Trick turns his back on him and walks on out here. But kind of a confusing thing because you're meant to hate Ethan Page, yet he's explained to us that he's been grinding in the world of wrestling. So you're kind of like, well, then I kind of support you and should be behind you. Whereas Trick saying like, yeah, I'm just blessed that I got all these things. So a bit backwards, but I didn't necessarily dislike this or anything. I just think that maybe I've grown a little tired of this feud, but hopefully we get something good out of this.
Yeah, I'm ready for this to end, but this did get me more interested in the match than I was before. I think Ethan Page was great here. And yeah, you're right. Some of the things he says makes you naturally want to cheer him, but I would take this over the comedy shit he's been doing, because I haven't taken him seriously at all since he's come in. And I like Ethan Page. This was the first time I was like, no, you seem like a serious contender. They sold this match to me in a way where I think we are getting blood. I think we are, like, it felt very like those Punk and Drew promos where you were kind of telling us, look, this is going to be a bit more violent than your usual match. Like Ethan describing, have you felt blood pour down your face and taste it and all that? You kind of have to do that now. And I know we have had these Devil Playground matches before, but I wonder if it's going to be a bit of a different look and a bit of a different feel for this one, and a bit more violent than we've ever seen on NXT, because it needs it. The first two matches haven't been good. The four-way was great. The four-way in Toronto was awesome, but when it's come to the singles matches, it hasn't really hit. And I thought Ethan Page kind of sold me on this match, and I hope the match actually lives up to this promo segment than just be what we've seen before, but plus a kendo stick.
It was weird because there was so much hype with NXT moving to the CW, and the two big matches that we were promised on that first show both suffered from like time constraints and commercials and all that. Because I hope that this match, like they nail what they've been trying to accomplish, because they really need to do something a bit better than what we've gotten from these two. So I like this segment in a weird way, though. It is weird because Trick is wearing the fur coat and he looks like he's at the player haters ball. He's looking good and he turns his back and he does say all these things. So I'm not saying that Ethan Page should now take it and win it back, because I don't necessarily think that's what's going to happen, but it'd almost be a bit more interesting if that were to be the case. But
I think in a way, though, it's almost to have Trick as this like wide-eyed, shiny baby face, and then and Ethan's promising him, no, you're gonna, like, this is all going away after Sunday. I do see Trick still retaining, but I think also because we don't have the women's title on the line, I think this is absolutely main eventing the show. And therefore I think they need to raise the stakes. And I think this is going to be, I think this should be the most like violent match we've seen in NXT for a while. We need blood. We need blood.
Body bags. Ethan Page, put him in a body bag.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. Use a needle, cinder block, stuff
like
that. Maybe not that, but yeah. We go backstage. Cora, Jade, and Roxanne, they're having a lovely chat. And if you looked in the background, you could see Lexis King approaching Dante Chen, as he was going to ask him to be his cornerman, even though they had that feud a few months ago, if you remember. So he's going to all the guys he did bad to. Yeah. He's like, hey, could you, I've turned a new leaf, kind of thing. But this is when Fatal Influence show up, and it's just Cora, Roxanne, and then these three who are just, this is like your Dr. Evil and Austin Powers, all the bad guys, like, just all the bad bitches in NXT laughing and being like, yeah, we run this thing together. We're the backbone of this division. When Kalani shows up and says like, oh yeah, well, like, you're not champion yet. And Roxanne's kind of looking at her title like, oh yeah, I am. So there is Kalani versus JC Jane. We're not sure yet, but Kalani versus one of the members of Fatal Influence is announced for Sunday, but we don't know the stip because of the spin the wheel just yet. So
and they're doing the NQCC rules where they won't reveal the opponent until the show. So it could be any three of them.
That's right. We go to our next match. Karmen Petrovic taking on Soul Ruca here. As it cuts to right as the match is beginning, we see Ashanti the Adonis sitting in the crowd, but he's with a new boo. He's with a new girlfriend, it seems. And Vic and Book are kind of talking about this, and Book just laughs, this evil maniacal laugh. And Vic is like, whoa, Book, you kind of sounded like Mr. Burns there for a second, as the match continues and starts off. Soul does the surfboard early on, where Booker starts to do the Beyonce surfboard. when Karmen is starting to get like flustered and is distracted because she noticed Ashanti in the crowd with someone else. Karmen does come back though with the naughty by nature lariat. Soul comes back with a code breaker, and then Booker's like, hey, maybe Ashanti's just sitting with a friend. You know, maybe they're just friends. And Vic's like, oh, I don't know about that. And Book says, you know, Vic, don't you just hang out with some friends? You know what I'm talking about, Vic. And Vic is like, actually, Book, I've been happily married for the last 2 years. So I usually just hang out with my wife, and I don't really have time for friends, except for my best friend. And he wrestles on SmackDown, and referring to Johnny Gargano. And Booker was kind of prying him a little bit about like, oh, you know, friends. I don't know, Book, tell me. Is Charmel in the crowd behind you, Book? Tell us about these friends, Book. Please, I'd love to hear it. Anyways, I love their commentary maybe more than this match. But Ashanti eventually gets up and leaves with this girl, which again distracts Karmen, who just stands there looking off, disappointed, which allows for Soul Ruca to hit the Soul Snatcher for the 1, 2, 3. I love Karmen and I love Soul, especially Soul, but I felt like this was more for the storyline of what was going on, and we didn't necessarily get a whole lot of what I think these women are capable of.
Yeah, it was more of an angle. There was fine stuff. Both are good. Like Carmen's kicks always look pretty good. Soul always doing some pretty flashy stuff. I tend to I know it's wrestling and we're gonna get it, but just hate the distraction finishes. You know, it just makes your characters look so stupid. And I know you're trying to get this story across that Karmen is potentially interested in Ashanti and is upset that he's out there with someone else, but it's telegraphed right away. Okay, we know where this is going. Yeah. And I just think it makes her look a little stupid. But yeah, it was fine. It was a quick match, but lots of women on tonight's show, by the way.
I mean, that's what NXT is
it is, yeah. But a lot of women's matches.
Are you saying there was too much women on this show?
I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying I think there was definitely more women than men on tonight's show. It was all over it.
I feel like that happens a lot on NXT.
It does. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, that's pretty normal, I guess. But there must have been a lot. But like the match itself, I know that these two are capable of a lot more. But I am interested to see. Ashanti is pretty funny. Like the stuff with him and this other girl, and then now her. Like I'm intrigued of where it goes. And she's love struck. Maybe this all leads to them being a couple. We'll see. Which takes me into my next segment here, which also might lead me to believe we're getting another couple in NXT. But hold on, I'll get there in a sec. Follow me. We go to Tyson and Tyreek. Remember them? Kind of, sort of?
Vaguely. Yeah. Nikita just about did, right?
Yeah. Nikita shows up, Nikita Lyons, and they're like, oh, Nikita, you're back in NXT. It's great that you're back. And she says, oh, like, who are you? I don't think she was been around since they've debuted, but no, she's like, yes, the Lioness is back on the prowl. And she's kind of like, yes, and I'm back. I'm going to take back what's mine and show people that I belong here in NXT. And then she kind of says the same to you, like, hey, you guys gotta use that attitude. You got to take what's yours and be more aggressive. She's saying you got to be aggressive.
She's not wrong. She essentially says, like, they're like, oh, welcome back. She's like, yeah, I've been injured. Where have you been? Oh, we've just been waiting for our opportunity, which is like, nah, you got to take those opportunities. But yeah.
So Nikita's talking to these two about, being more aggressive when Oba Femi shows up from behind her, and he taps her on the shoulder, and she looks, and he hands her ring jacket, and he says, hey, Nikita, you dropped this. And she goes, oh, thank you very much, as Oba walks away.
Okay.
Interesting.
So are we to assume that she attacked Rizzo?
Yes.
And that's why her jacket was left behind, and she was talking about being aggressive and all that.
Yeah, you got to be aggressive. You got to attack people and show people that you're not here to make friends. You're here to be champion, a winner here. Yeah. Dr. Umar definitely watching this segment, giving them looks. But I felt like this is setting up maybe something between them, like they have an alliance between Oba Femi and Nikita.
Yeah, I hope it adds some sort of character to Nikita. Like it's one of the things I tend to hate in. Actually, it's not just NXT. You do see it on the main roster as well when someone's trying to get a catchphrase over or just but there's nothing more to them than that. Like this here, her whole I'm a lion, and then it's just a load of lion puns like watch me pounce, I'm prowling, and it's just okay. Is that all you've got? So I could do without that. And if this a relationship in some way with over Femi, if that gets something a bit else out of her and makes her a little bit more three-dimensional, I'm down for it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just like a way to get something going for her, not necessarily like a couple.
Yeah, when I say relationship,
yeah.
I don't necessarily mean like a love thing, just like a working relationship, maybe.
Yeah. We go to our next match. Hank and Tank. They're backstage with Colonel Mustard, and they're ready for their match against OTM, and they honk as they make their way, and OTM come out, and it's just an attack from the beginning here as they're all going at it, and we just see Cole. Is it Cole? Cole Custer?
Cole Custer.
And he's clapping. Lucian Price is in there with, I think, Tank, and he hits a beautiful-looking Uranagi. Hank is on the outside. He hits a nice pounce out there. There's then a terrible spot where Price is trying to run to, like, clothesline Hank, and Hank is supposed to, like, pull the ropes down, but it was just so... Like he was miles away before he even he pulled the ropes and the guy was still running completely toward him and jumps over the ropes. Just, it was pretty funny. Eventually Hank though hits the boss man slam for a 2 count. This is when Jaida starts to get involved. Lola Vice shows up. This allows Cole Custer to hit Lucian with the helmet to the back, which then allows Hank and Tank to hit the collision course, the terrible power slam headbutt thing, and a 1, 2, 3. Hank and Tank honk their way to a victory. And if you thought Lola Vice twerking with Sexy Red was a great NXT moment, how about Lola Vice dancing and twerking with Cole Custer? Wow, cinema NXT. This was wow.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, this was probably the lowest point on the show for me. I didn't think Hank and Tank with OTM gelled well. That finisher isn't great. Look, I like Hank and Tank's energy. I like that they finally kind of locked in what their ring gear is after so many different attempts, especially Hank.
Still not great, but
no, it's but this just I didn't like this really at all. I didn't think they gelled. I thought the Cole Custer stuff, like, I don't know, is a helmet like, I know they're hard, but is a helmet to the back really
that would hurt? Yeah,
no, it would hurt.
It would like hurt. A distraction.
Would it cost me the match? I don't think so. And that running power slam headbutt thing's just ridiculous. Lola dancing with them was cool, but yeah, this didn't do a whole lot for me and didn't really feel like it needed to be there.
Okay, I'm trying not to be a old man yelling at the cloud, but okay. So you're telling me that the audience we're going for, 1 week, you're trying to tell people, hey, look, Sexy Red. You know Sexy Red. Come on, it's Sexy Red. Everyone knows who Sexy Red is. Where half the people are like, yo, who the fuck is Sexy Red? By week 3, we're really sick of Sexy Red. So then they bring in Cole Custer.
Yeah,
who is probably, on the same level, probably the same fan bases, lots of crossover there, right? It's like, wait, what? Like, was this a draw for someone to tune in? The guy, bless him, he looked like he was told many times, kid, this is what you're going to do. He looks so awkward because he's like clapping, like, am I supposed to just stand here and clap? When the twerking thing with Lola at the end, he was just like, I'm just standing here. All right. And claps.
I think it's more brand synergy because the
CW.
NASCAR Xfinity series is on the CW, so it's a bit
I totally understand. I'm just saying, like,
stuff. Yeah,
just 1 week we go from like Sexy Red twerking and rapping to then like an old white dude who's a NASCAR driver. It's like, man, I don't like either of these things. Can I just watch my wrestling?
But I mean, they're trying to get as many audiences as possible, right?
Yeah.
Like the thing is, like anytime there's a like NFL superstar in WWE that everyone in the States knows, most of us back in the UK are going, sorry, who the fuck is a Jason Kelsey? Like, That's most of the time. Yeah, you know who he is. Like, Brits don't give a fuck, the majority of them. So
although
that's the case a lot of the time. Like, and you're going to have that. You're going to go to Saudi and have that Saudi comedian who we don't know, but is huge there. You're going to go to the UK and have Wayne Rooney punch Wade Barrett in the face. And a lot of people won't know who he is. Like, you're going to get these things. And it's just trying to get those cold custard fans to
those boomers,
like
it's boomers that watch this show. This show has NXT has been like, the secret's been out, but it's been a horny show for years now, and like that's why the boomers are watching it. So maybe this is the right direction for their audience with a NASCAR guy coming on here. But yeah, shake and bake. But the match was not great. It was not cinema whatsoever. It was hilariously kind of bad. I do like Hank and Tank. It's just OTM are also very green as well. These are two teams that are green, and it was. I don't want to say blind leading the blind, but a little out there was not the greatest. We go backstage. Nathan Frazier is extremely upset that he was slapped by Javon Evans. He goes to talk to Ava, and he's rambling on about, like, again, a more heel character side of Frazier when she says that, fine, it's official. You want the match? Next week on NXT TV, Tuesday, NXT tag titles, Cedric and Javon versus Fraxium.
Yeah, awesome. Sorry, I was doing a little bit of research there, just see what the NASCAR Xfinity Series ratings are like on the CW. And
it's probably a lot better than WWE.
It's similar to like NXT at its peak, right? It's 906,000 is like the average viewers, so pretty good. So a lot of people on this network do watch it, so why not? But yeah, anyway, over to the like Fraxium thing. Yeah, this was where I thought I like Nathan Frazier, and I think we're maybe getting closer to this breakup because Axiom was getting pissed off, but then I kind of like Nathan's reasoning here. It's like, hey, aren't we the best tag team in the world? So let's fucking face everyone. We're the best. Let's do it.
I hope they don't break up. I have really grown to love these two as a team, and I don't mind the like back and forth, but like they're always on the fritz, but at the same time they put on like bangers. So I don't want them to split because
it's whether we see them more like, what is it, like Lex and Sting, where you've got the baby face and you've got the baby face and the heel in the same team, but
it's doable. We've done this in wrestling before.
I mean, more recently, Swerve in Our Glory, I guess, kind of played with that for a while, didn't they?
Right. I'm remembering like Kurt and Benoit, they were teamed up.
Yeah, that's right.
Too, right? They were incredible as a team, right? Like stuff like that. But at the same time, like these guys they are the best tag team of the year, and it's like would suck if they were to split because I genuinely think they bring a lot to this show and could bring a lot to the main roster. And I do want to see Machine Guns versus these two at some point. So don't split up, please. I don't think they will lose the titles either, if that's the case. But we go to a NXT Focus brought to you by Progressive here as we get a Ridge Holland promo who says, Mr. Chase, why are you so angry? And kind of talks about how ruthless he was and how he didn't care about you people, and says that he can't wait for this ambulance match on Sunday because he's finally going to put an end to Chase U forever. So, yeah, Mean Ridge, that guy. Ridge.
Yeah. Yeah, sounded good, sounded mean. Showed lots of highlights of him killing people and Chase U.
Yeah. We see Tony D'Angelo backstage. He's very upset about it, and he's being interviewed. And he says, someone took out Rizzo and Oba. I don't know if you're behind this or not, but tonight you decided to make things even more personal by taking out my friends in front of me. So I took from you what you love the most, meaning the North American title, and then you return the favor. So this Sunday, I'm going to get my revenge on you.
Okay, I didn't really put it together, but now I think we're getting a bit of a faction here because I could see Tyson and Tyreek with Oba and Nikita and helping Oba get helping him win the.
You got to be more aggressive. So they
exactly
okay,
and they've got that similar style. We haven't seen a whole lot of them, but when they've been in the ring, they've been that kind of one of them in particular. Big guy but speedy, can throw people around. So could work as Oba as your ruler, Nikita as your queen, and these two as the tag team, I guess.
There's a lot of jokes I won't make, but yeah, like the lioness, and then what's his Oba's the ruler. Like you're trying to go for like the kingdom of something,
Yeah,
right? Like there's something there, I think,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And I think we need to repackage Tyson and Tyreek more than just the two lads in Timberlands. You know, like I think have this be a bit more of a unit. I don't think Oba needs it, but I think it could help the other three.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I don't know if like that's a big causing him to win it back. I don't know. I can see what you mean though. Like it gives that all those three
I mean,
something.
you've then got Tony, Stax, Luca, and Rizzo, and you've got Nikita, Tyson, Tyreek, and Oba. Like it teams wise, it makes sense. We've seen lots of factions with mixing, like JCU are the same and that kind of thing. Like,
yeah. Hey, I like stables, don't get me wrong, but her thing is like, I'm a lioness, and like you said, the lion puns and stuff, and then you have him being like, I'm the ruler and all this. It's like,
well, you can get away from the lion stuff. You should get away from the lion
they
stuff.
should, but something tells me they won't. We see Tony. Sorry, we already saw Tony, but we get announcements. Like we said, the tag match is next week. Also, the Heritage Cup match is signed for next week, and I'm sure they'll add some more stuff as well.
Yeah, I think we skipped over the segment with Lexis and Ava because
sorry.
Lexis goes into Ava's office and is just asked her, hey, can you pick a corner man for me? Because I've asked everyone and I can't find anyone to do it because everyone thinks I'm like him, referring to his dad. And she's like, well, like you've got to work on that. And he's like, oh, it's all right for you because everyone loves you guys, referring to the bloodline. Which I think is kind of, we really haven't had many references to Ava's family, have we?
Why? Who's your dad?
Haha. But I did find it funny. Like Lexis is playing. Like I almost felt sorry for him. It's like, oh, everyone thinks I'm a dad, but it's like, no, you've been a dick. You came into this company. You haven't been nice to anyone.
Yeah, it's been actually awful to a lot of people.
Yeah, you've been pretty. You've sucked. Like, but I kind of like what they're going with now. With who do you think his corner man's going to be?
It's going to be the DJ.
Oh,
blanking on his name.
Eddie
now.
Thorpe.
Eddie Thorpe. Yeah.
I think it's going to be Oro. Like they had the match, they had the handshake at the end, and I think it could be Oro at the end.
Okay. Yeah, either of those makes sense.
And helps him cheat to win the title. Or
you just have everyone he's done wrong come out and beat him up, and he doesn't actually. He still just like it's like when the bully all of a sudden is like, oh, everyone hates me. It's like, yeah, because you're mean. But yeah, I hope the match is good. He kind of impressed last week, so I hope this leads to something. But we go to our main event of NXT tonight, Fatal Influence, meaning Fallon Henley and JC Jane taking on Stephanie Vaquer and Giulia. We get Vaquer making her entrance. I love this. The Dark Angel, the horns and everything. I think she's got a great look, and the music is very maybe generic rock and everything, but so far loving that kind of thing. And same with Giulia. I like the presentation that she has given us. Like they've shown with the lights and everything. It's pretty sweet. But Vaquer shows up here. Shows up and does a series of like lucha style arm drags. Eventually hits the 619. Shout out Rey Mysterio. Which then they're selling that could have broken JC Jane's nose yet again with her recently being out of the face mask. Jasmine Nix gets on the apron and tries to distract, allowing them to gain control. And then Fallon Henley yells, "Yeehaw, bitch," as we go into commercial break. When we come back, JC Jane is working on Giulia here with a surfboard-style submission, but eventually Giulia tags Vaquer in and hits a huge crossbody, and then an eat defeat onto Fallon, and then a series of forearms. However, JC comes back with a running neck breaker, and then Fallon hits her suplex out of the corner for a near fall as well onto Giulia this time, but Stephanie comes in with a super kick to break it up. And then Nix is at it again on the apron when Kalani Jordan shows up in like platform shoes here. Very high, like made her a lot taller. And she attacks Nix here in those shoes, which is pretty impressive. As that's all going on, Giulia's back in the ring, hits the V trigger, and then Vaquer hits her broken wings or the double underhook into the backbreaker move for the 1, 2, 3. And the new tag team of Vaquer and Giulia win in Vaquer's debut match here as Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez are watching on the perch as Roxanne clutches her NXT title. And then I guess I'll just quickly say that JC goes to spin the wheel and make a deal. And it turns to Spinner's Choice. Which not only do they get to pick who is the one that faces Kalani, but now they also get to pick the stipulation. But as they are celebrating about this, the lights go out. We see the video package for Zarya plays, and here she is. She appears very creepy, some face paint, some scary lights, and then she smiles and laughs as NXT goes off the air.
I thought pretty good match. I think these are 4 of your best women in NXT. And yeah, it was cool seeing them go at it. I'm looking forward to seeing both Giulia and Stephanie have substantial singles matches with time. But I thought they looked good in here, both with Fallon and JC, and Fallon in particular. I'm looking forward to seeing elevated a bit more. I hope it's her taking on Kalani at the weekend. But yeah, I'm still not convinced by Stephanie's finisher, but I thought this was the best the knees looked from Giulia. And then the Zarya showing up, which was cut off on the CW. They're not used to not having that overrun yet, because it was basically, she's here! And it cut out.
Warrior Hogan match.
Yes.
You could see the ref yelling at the women during the main event.
Get on with it.
It was very all in in Chicago. Take it home. And they're like, what do you mean? We still have like 5 minutes. And he's like, no, you don't. You could see him yelling at all of them.
News about to start.
Yeah.
But no, I thought a pretty good match. I'm actually looking at Giulia and Stephanie together. I am looking forward to this tag. I think, as we said last week, it's we're gonna have the different combinations in the future. I think they kind of want to they don't want to burn through them so quickly before you move up, say Roxanne or whoever. So starting with the tag, making it feel like a big deal. I think if given time, it could be a really fun match. And then, do you see Zarya involved with the North American title match?
Yeah, I think that would be the good spot for Zarya to come in. Like, we got things busy with Roxanne, Cora, Giulia, and Vaquer. So if Zarya shows up during that match, I think that would make think like, hey, I'm coming for the winner of this kind of thing. Like, she already has a great presence too. So here's like 3 new toys for NXT with these 3 like superstars from all over the world, which is kind of cool. Like, all 3 different, strong women coming in here who I didn't mind this match, but I think Giulia and now Vaquer too, it's like they're maybe used to working a different style. And here we are like almost scared to knee someone in the face kind of thing. Like, they're maybe like not hitting.
We have seen that. We saw that with Asuka for a bit, didn't we, when she came in? And it was almost something they alluded to in the promo where like I like facing you because we both hit each other hard, essentially, is what they said. But I don't see Roxanne, especially. I don't see that being an issue with on Sunday.
I think that match will be good. This was a good little taster to see like Vaquer and Giulia working together. I do think that match on Sunday will be good. I hope it's good with the 4 of them. I think Cora really needs to prove herself. She's been gone for so long that she's going to be the one to see if she can hang with the 3 of them really in this match. So hopefully she does. But I thought this was pretty good seeing them. I did gloss over a moment before the match, before they went to break, when Vaquer, Giulia were walking for their entrance backstage. They walk past Io Sky and Kairi Sane, and they kind of share a moment and kind of give each other.
Yeah, that was cool.
So like, I do think that's something we can go to. Imagine that's the match. Like, sorry, Roxanne and Cora, get out of here. Let's have that match, which would be amazing one day, and any iteration of those 2, or those 4. So I think this wet your whistle for like hopefully a strong tag match on Sunday that really can highlight the women's division here in NXT, because I love Fallon. JC has really improved as well. I think they got a slot, and I think with Zarya showing up, maybe Fallon doesn't win the title so that Zarya can take it. I'm not sure.
Magan saying Zarya should face Kalani and win the women's North American title from the jump. Like, you could always do a thing where Zarya intimidates Fatal Influence in giving up their spot or something like that. You know, maybe if you have this 1 second from last on the show, maybe throughout the night, members of Fatal Influence are being taken out, and you know they've got to spin the wheel. It's they choose Zarya to be in the match or something like that.
But Fallon's just been like super great as well, right? Like she's been working her ass off. So I do kind of want her to win this title, and then maybe you can do with it whatever. But like again, strong women's presence on this show as NXT is pretty used to doing, and I think it is their calling card. It is really great to see all these talent, and the fact that we're looking forward to a tag match on Sunday that's not even for the title, like that's pretty solid. That's pretty cool, I think. And I'm excited to see a lot of the different matchups that we can get with these stars. But overall, like a decent go-home episode here.
Yeah.
Where, you know, you set up your main event with Trick and Ethan Page. You set up Ridge and Andre for the ambulance match and then stuff as well for the week and so forth. So I didn't mind this episode. Nothing on this show really annoyed me or pissed me off. So it was a thumbs up.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I think it set up, as I said, I'm more interested in the Trick and Ethan Page match than I was a week ago, where I think I watched that match with you and audibly groaned when it was like, oh man, we're doing this again. I thought this promo segment set that up nicely. Looking forward to the women's tag, even the ambulance match, because you know I love a bit of Chase U Law. Shall we quickly run through predictions? We got 5 matches on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Kalani Jordan versus Fallon, JC, or Jasmine. Who do you think? It'd be cool if they just put Jasmine in, and I don't know if that would be the case, but I think it's Fallon, and I think she should win. Whether or not we're injecting Zarya into this or so, I do think Fallon. That was kind of the story, it seemed. So I kind of hope that she gets her flowers.
Yeah, I'll go outside the box and say Zarya.
Okay, outside the box is Jasmine. For me, maybe Jasmine is the one they pick, and then Zarya scares her out of being it. That's how you could get to that scenario as well. But yeah, either way, I think we're getting a new champion.
Yep. Okay.
For that title, right? Ambulance match: Ridge Holland versus Andre Chase. Now we kind of said already that this could go 2 ways. We get the rollout of the red carpet for Chase U, or we get all of them coming out to save Andre, and then finally rid them of Ridge in the ambulance, maybe a school bus. Or this is where Thea finally breaks all of our hearts and turns on Ridge, on Andre. What do you think?
I'm going Andre Chase. Yeah, with the help of all of Chase U.
Don't let me down, Thea. I'm going with Andre too. He needs his revenge. Andre's revenge for sure. We have the tag team match: Roxanne and Cora versus Giulia and Stephanie Vaquer. I think it's safe to say that Giulia and Vaquer should win this match, and someone should pin Roxanne to make it even more interesting.
Yes, I think so too. Yeah.
Giulia gets that pin back on Roxy.
I
think from not getting it the other week. Tony D'Angelo versus Oba Femi, North American title in a tables, ladders, and scares match. Do you think Oba has his new Kingdom team showing up?
Oba with the faction, yes.
Okay. Tony just won that title. Italy will be furious. There'll be riots, but I'm sticking with Tony. I'm sticking with Tony D. Somehow, some way, he's going to climb that ladder and he's going to remain champion. I don't even know if I feel confident saying that, so maybe I should change my pick. But no, I'm sticking with you, Italy. I got you. Got your back. But yeah. And then the main event, Devil's Playground. Trick Williams putting his NXT title on the line against Ethan Page. I really hope this match steps up and delivers. And before today, I'd just say, yeah, Trick wins. But I think it's a bit more, I don't know. I still think Trick's winning.
I don't think it's going to flip-flop that much. I think Trick wins, but I think we are going to see something bloody.
Yeah, some havoc on our Halloween Havoc for sure. So there you go. Those are our predictions for this 5-match card on a Sunday night pay-per-view.
We have 2 pieces of feedback. I'm going to run them through very quickly. Saying, Magan, it's as plain as day that the women's roster is carrying NXT on its back, bookending it with the 2 tag matches, the non-finish in the opener, souring me a little. was very smart. The staff got a dip into the free agent pool to boost their men's division in the worst way. Trick, not his fault, is looking like an afterthought. Oba got enough heat going into Hershey by eliminating Tony's family. I bet Tony will pull it off on Sunday. It would be a step backwards if Oba wins the title again. The main event was damn good, and the ending gave Halloween Havoc another boost with the reveal of Zarya. Kalani Jordan, it's been real. The Philly trip in 2 weeks should be baller. And then we have Frank saying, shout out Trick's Silky Johnson coat.
Yes, player haters ball. He looked great. He always looks pretty good. He looks like money all the time. Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Frank. And everyone out there listening, whether you were in the YouTube chat live or listening via podcast form, appreciate it. And we can't do this without you. Again, we do this every Tuesday night at now 10:05 p.m. Look at us shaving off some time, making towns. We'll do this every Tuesday, but we will be doing this Sunday with our Halloween Havoc post show. So definitely tune into that if you're watching the show. We will be here live to chat all about it. So join in the chat, join in on the fun. And of course, Poisonrana.ca for everything else that we do, including our Patreon, our Halloween Havoc 95, our Best Match Abyss, and so forth and so forth. Lots and lots of shows. And if you are in the Toronto area, then please hang out with us on Wednesday, October 30th, Devil's Night, aka Loomis Night. We will be screening Halloween, the original 1 and 2. And we're going to be dressed up like Loomis, or any Halloween costumes accepted. But we're going to make some donations to sick kids here in the city. So Halloween fun and some free drinks. Again, if you're in the Toronto area, join us at Gabby's King Street West on Wednesday, the 30th. Did I miss anything?
That's everything.
Megan says he sent a super chat, but I don't know if I want to read that, Megan.
No, I highlighted it. Thank you, Megan.
Appreciate everyone out there, as always, at Poisonrana Pod. Myself, Braden Herrington. You can find me at the Brady.
And you can find me at Davie Portman.
That is it. That is all. Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween Havoc. Take care. Goodbye. Be safe. And shout out Haystacks Calhoun.
Ahoy!